I don't even know where to start, quite honestly. There's a lot to discuss in terms of like what he has recently filed. If you've been following, we kind of touched on this a little bit. Drake has, without a doubt, handled this fallout, this aftermath of his back and forth beef with Kendrick Lamar worse than any other artist or any other person I've ever seen handle a beef. Like Ja Rule didn't handle his falling out, his back and forth, his beef with 50 Cent worse than this. And that is saying something because 50 Cent literally basically ended his career, his run, his credibility, his notoriety in music. And like to have Drake, who is and arguably one of the biggest artists who have ever walked this planet and one of the biggest modern artists that we've ever had in kind of these past 10, 15, 20 years, easily at the, top end of hip hop for I don't even know how long. Well-established crossover star was sent into an absolute fucking spiral. All of these Kendrick Lamar lines from back in the day, back years ago, are all coming back around, are all relevant once again. Left hand sent little baby in a spiral. Like he's literally sending this man to streamers, sending this man to XQC, I think Aiden Ross, streamers to vent, to talk shit, not rap, not get on a track, not try to see him. Streamers. One, corny as hell already, off top, that's goofy as hell in hip hop. Like, can't believe this is how you're handling this. Two, he been threatening a red button. I'm gonna push that red button, red button, red button, red button this, red button that. Been talking about that for years. Not years, I'm saying tripping. But been talking about that for months leading up to this. How he's got a red button. Just wait. I'm gonna push the red button. Y'all gonna see. Come to find out, that red button was a lawsuit.
What?
A lawsuit. He took this man to court. Now, I know a lot of people come out and say he ain't suing Kendrick. Yeah, he's suing UMG, but all throughout the lawsuit, you're going to see Kendrick Lamar, not like us, mentioned over and over and over again. So you may not be suing him directly, but I promise you are hoping that UMG sues Kendrick in terms of like getting any money that they might lose from a lawsuit or whatever. He's literally hoping that they sue Kendrick, which would be absolutely insane to happen because they are also his label. But like, you may not be suing him directly. We all know what this is about. We all know who this is about. You might try to say and play things down like this is about UMG. No, this is because he got absolutely manhandled in a rap beef with one K. Kung Fu Kenny, Kendrick motherfucking Lamar. And in hip hop, sheesh, that is typically a death sentence. But Drake is still Drake. He is still the most streamed artist on the planet. He still got countless hits. And he's kind of insulated for the fact that he does not only have hip hop fans, he crosses over across multiple spectrums of music listeners, people that don't know anything about hip hop, that don't follow the culture, that don't know the rules of the culture, that don't know the history, that don't know the tradition. They don't care. They don't care that he's sued. They don't care that he got washed in beef. So he's safe in that regard. Won't be the end of him. It might make them look at him a little funny and see him for what he truly is, a cornball, but ain't gonna end him. But in terms of hip hop and the culture and the community, suing over a beef is insane. And is typically a literal death sentence. And if the culture is still the culture, which I have doubts about, this man should not be allowed to talk tough on any song ever again. I don't want to hear I'm the best. I don't want to hear top two, not two. I don't want to hear smoke for everybody. I don't want to hear none of that. Because how he's handling this right here destroys his credibility in hip hop to no end. If you are a true hip hop head, unfortunately, there are a lot of people in hip hop who consider themselves to be fans of the culture that don't even know the history, don't know the reasons why this is a no-no, don't understand there's etiquette in terms of how things are supposed to be handled in hip hop. But here we are, 2025. I knew, not like us, I knew the whole back and forth would go a certain way. I knew that it would hurt him personally, even credibility wise, but I did not think it would send him running to his lawyers. He went from drop to stop to cop. It's crazy. It's really crazy when you think about it. This man is suing his own label over a rap beef gone wrong. He ran into the right one and he found out. He fucked around and he found out. So, like I said, we're going to discuss it. We're going to talk about some of the little updates about what is happening with this whole fuckery in this UMG Drake lawsuit, Kendrick lawsuit business. Last week, the rapper withdrew. This is from Music Business Worldwide. Their article, Drake deals up for renegotiating 2025 and other revelations from his lawsuit against Universal Music. The rapper, Drake, withdrew a legal petition, which before it was a lawsuit, it was just a petition basically saying, I need you to disclose some information. We need to come to an understanding before I take this to the fullest extent and actually file a lawsuit. And here we are now. He withdrew that legal petition against Spotify and UMG. Again, also Spotify is also part of this, which I forgot to mention. But yes, not just UMG, his parent company, his label, his distributors, but Spotify. He alleged a payola scheme and the use of bots to artificially inflate the popularity of Kendrick Lamar's diss track, Not Like Us. He withdrew that. And right after that, he filed a full-blown defamation lawsuit. Now, before we get into all that, I've been seeing this running all over the internet, people discussing, talking about it. I see Drake stance talking about, oh, ain't nothing wrong with him suing his label. They playing dirty games. They breached his contract. They doing this. They doing that. You don't know what the lawsuit's about. You don't know the business. You don't know the underhanded, dirty business that they probably doing. Okay. You might have had a case if he filed a breach of contract suit, but he's filed a defamation lawsuit, meaning he's saying Not Like Us did irreparable harm and damage to his image and his credibility and his name to the point that it has cost him money, opportunities, and personal harm. Not breach of contract, but defamation. Let that sink in. For its part, UMG has made it clear it sees the lawsuit as unfounded and to defend itself vigorously. They said not only are these claims are true, but the notion that we would seek to harm the reputation of any artist, let alone Drake, is illogical. Again, they represent this guy. Why would they want to hurt the cash cow? We have invested massively in his music, and our employees around the world have worked tirelessly for many years to help him achieve historic commercial and personal financial success. If you read between the lines, he's accusing us of running bots, running payola schemes, people paying people to stream, when in reality, we've been doing the same shit for Drake his whole career. If you think they don't use payola schemes and bots and pay for placements on streams and other mediums for Drake like they do for other artists, you are fucking out of your mind. At one point, Drake was literally on every single playlist on Spotify. How does that happen? Without payola schemes. Throughout his career, Drake has intentionally and successfully used UMG distributes music and poetry to engage in conventionally outrageous back and forth rap battles to express his feelings about other artists. Basically, they're saying, you did the same shit while you were signed to us. You beefed with other artists. What's the difference? He now seeks to weaponize the legal process to silence the artist's creative expression and seek damages from UMG for distributing the artist's music. We have not and do not engage in defamation against any individual. At the same time, we will vigorously defend this litigation to protect our people and our reputation, as well as any artist who might directly or indirectly become a frivolous litigation target for having done nothing more than write a song. We did not defame you. And we will defend Kendrick Lamar, who may or may not become a frivolous litigation target. Who else could it be? Kendrick Lamar. They're talking about Kendrick Lamar. Not only are we defending ourselves against defamation, we're defending Kendrick against defamation. Drake argues that UMG is responsible for the allegedly defamatory nature of Not Like Us. The lawsuit doesn't name Lamar as a defendant, only UMG. It stresses this lawsuit is not about the artists who created Not Like Us. Crazy. It is instead entirely about UMG, the music company that decided to publish, promote, exploit, monetize allegations that understood were not only false, but dangerous, aka a diss track. Diss track. In the history of rap, when has a diss track, the bar for a diss track needed to be 100% truth? No hyperbole. No exaggeration. When have there been rules about lines being crossed in terms of what you said about another person? The whole point of a diss track in hip hop is to defame the other person. Am I tripping? The whole purpose of a rap diss track aimed at another artist is to defame that person and end their career. To assassinate that person's character so other people no longer want to listen to them. That is the entire purpose of a rap diss track. Am I tripping? Am I fucking tripping? Are we playing by some new rules all of a sudden that we did not give the rule book to, that we did not have a clear understanding about? When you were playing the game, when you were doing the exact same thing, like, were you not playing by those exact same rules? Did you not just say Kendrick Lamar beat his wife? That he had kids from his best friend? That his kids weren't his, but they were his best friends? Is that not assassination of character? Am I tripping? Did those diss tracks not happen? Come on now. Meanwhile, Not Like Us had just passed 1 billion streams since its release in May of last year. And 13 million in the 24 hours after the track's release. And like, the fact that he thinks these numbers, these situations were inflated is kind of crazy to me. I'll give a little backstory, a little back insight. I was in Senegal, Africa, when this song came out. For reasons don't need to discuss, but I was there. Very far away from the US and hip hop culture and US culture in general. And when that song dropped, people that don't even speak English were listening to it. Why? Because it was the biggest news happening in music in the world at that time. because Drake was that big of an artist, because Kendrick was that big of an artist, and you have the top two guys in a field have a back and forth beef, whatever you want to call it, like that, the world is going to pay attention. And if you think you need a bots to inflate that, you are delusional. Out of them 13 million, I might have had 100K streams myself. Just facts. Drake's complaint attempts to do something that could prove difficult in a U.S. court to treat song lyrics as a form of defamation. U.S. courts have in the past rejected that argument, citing artistic expression as a form of protected speech. Seemingly aware of this, the complaint seeks to show legal precedent for treating lyrical content seriously in courts, most notably referring to the Georgia trial of Young Thug on RICO charges, in which the prosecution reportedly used the rapper's lyrics as evidence. What? I don't think y'all understand how serious that is. Amongst hip hop, particularly hip hop, in terms of lyrics, things being said in song, it's been a long issue that has been tried to be used many, many times over in court and other situations where they're trying to hold these artists 100% liable for the things that they say in songs. And if you were have to be 100% liable for the things that you were saying in hip hop songs, there would basically be no hip hop. At the core of what hip hop is, it is braggadocio. It is exaggeration. It is hyperbole. It is storytelling. If artists were held to everything that they said in a song, they would all be in prison for life. And the fact that he's trying to set a legal precedent, in the United States of America, because this will change things if this is allowed. If this goes through and is allowed, this will change things for the worse for all artists involved in the industry. This will change things to allow songs, lyrics to be used in court and to have labels and artists held liable for the things that they're saying. You know how many lawsuits are going to come out of this if this goes through? And that's a fucked up aspect of this entire lawsuit that people are not really recognizing. He would destroy the landscape of hip hop music if this went through and succeeded. This would become precedent for all future lawsuits. And the fact that this guy, supposed to be head of hip hop, top of hip hop, is using this aspect and going this route, just shows how everything that Kendrick had to say about him is true. A colonizer, a guest, not of the culture. It's insane. It's really insane when you read between the lines. I mean, the whole aspect of this lawsuit is he trying to say we were negotiating for more money. UMG did this to destroy my image. UMG did not make you go back and forth for Kendrick Lamar. That was your choice. You just came out of the wrong end of that ass whooping. That's all that was. That's all that was. What other highlights of this we want to talk about? Let's get right to it. Let's go right to the actual lawsuit itself. Here's the literal lawsuit filed. Plaintiff Aubrey Drake Graham, or plaintiff, or Drake, Through his attorneys, brings his complaint against defendant UMG Recordings. Literally in the introduction, a single lie can destroy a reputation of integrity, and while it takes years to build a reputation, it can be ruined in 5 minutes. Or it can be ruined in 5 songs. However you want to play it. Like, that's literally how they're opening the victim card right off the bat. Disgusting. In the middle of the night on May 7th, 2024, an armed group of assailants drove up to the Toronto house in which Drake and his family resided. Drake was inside. The car stopped in front of the residence, and someone yelled, "Fuck Drake," which is crazy. And at least one gunman began to open fire. One bullet went through the security gate and hit Drake's front door. Another bullet struck and wounded a security guard who was also one of Drake's friends. While the car drove away, Drake and others in the house summoned help for the security guard and did everything possible to keep him alive. Okay, this whole part is literally about, the shooting that happened, that occurred at his house. Like I said, on May 7th, in the height of all of this beef and back and forth. He's basically trying to blame that shooting on the song. Here it is. Even though UMG enriched itself and its shareholders by exploiting Drake's music for years, it knew that the salacious allegations of Drake were false. UMG, whose corporate greed over the safety and well-being of its artists, chose corporate greed over the safety and well-being of its artists. In controversy, UMG saw an opportunity, seized it, and continued to fan the flames even after learning of the incitement to violence May 7th and 8th, along with their unrelenting vitriol toward Drake that has followed. The song in question is Not Like Us, written and performed by Kendrick Lamar. Duckworth. The recording was intended to convey the specific, unmistakable, and false factual allegation that Drake is a criminal pedophile, and suggested the public should resort to vigilante justice in response. The recording is defamatory because its lyrics, its album image, the image, and its music video all advance the false and malicious narrative that Drake is a pedophile. I mean, look, they did use the cover of Drake's address, and which is very publicly available, and I think was already out on the internet for a long time at that point. And it did have little pedophile markers all over. A very clever piece of artwork that obviously got people talking, and which is, what you're supposed to do in a beef. The recording is defamatory because its lyrics, the lyrics repeatedly accuse Drake of engaging in criminal acts, including by calling him a certified pedophile. Certified lover boy, certified pedophile. And a predator who needs to be placed on neighborhood watch. He did say that. The image was designed to reinforce, and in fact reinforce, the accusation by depicting Drake's actual Toronto house covered in icons that are known to be used for law enforcement to identify child sex offenders' residences online. I mean, that was a vicious ass image, I ain't gonna lie. The video bolsters the same message by example, showing images associated with sex trafficking and juxtaposing the game of hopscotch with the lyrics accusing Drake of trying to strike a chord, and it's probably a minor. The lawsuit is not about the artist who created it, instead entirely about UMG. Okay, yeah, buddy, sure. Drake is not a pedophile. Drake has never engaged in any acts that require him to be placed on neighborhood watch. Drake has never engaged in sexual relations with, well, you did kiss that 17-year-old on stage. That is literally on video. Drake has never been charged with or convicted of any criminal acts whatsoever. That doesn't mean you're not, funny. Notwithstanding, UMG waged an unrelenting campaign to spread the recording, image, and video, which is, they promoted a song, which is what they also promoted Family Matters. They also promoted every other song that you released on your side of the beef. so I don't really see an issue with that. UMG did so because it understood that the recording's inflammatory and shocking allegations were a gold mine, spreading the defamatory material served multiple businesses' purposes for UMG. What are those purposes? First, the more people who listened to, streamed, watched, and downloaded the defamatory material, the more money UMG and its executives would make. Second, UMG's Interscope Records owns Lamar's entire back catalog recording music. The leadership of Interscope had every incentive to prove it could maximize Lamar's sales after only recently persuading him to enter into his own direct license for a limited recording commitment of new music. Third, UMG's contract with Drake was nearing fulfillment, and on information and belief, UMG anticipated that extending Drake's contract would be costly. By devaluing Drake's music and brand, UMG could leverage. So basically what he's saying is he thinks UMG waged this entire campaign to lower and devalue Drake's value so that they could extend him in his contract at pennies on the dollar, which doesn't really make sense, because if I devalue you, why would I want to re-sign you? I'm going to devalue you. You're my product. Like, you are like my moneymaker. I'm going to devalue your worth, re-sign you, and then try to promote your music again that I just devalued. Do you see an issue there? Maybe. Doesn't really make sense to me. UMG's campaign was successful. Okay, so you're saying you lost the beef. Like, you went from I'm not bothered, this shit doesn't bother me, the song was nothing, to the campaign was successful, meaning I got my ass whooped. Okay? The recording cloaks cleverly dangerous lyrics built behind behind a catchy beat and inviting hook. So the song was a slapper. It was a banger. Like, it was a hit. So you're admitting that the song was a hit. Okay. UMG's campaign was successful. It cloaks cleverly dangerous lyrics behind a catchy beat and inviting hook. It is crazy. Capitalizing on these attributes, UMG used every tool at his disposal to ensure that the world would hear that Drake like him young. Bruh. Yeah, this might be the funniest piece of content I've read in quite a while. Oh my God. He really put this out there for the public. He thinks his image is going to be better after this. This was what insane. Do you really, Drake, like, you think your image is going to improve after the releasing of this lawsuit? Seriously. I think this lawsuit and everything that you're doing now is going to be more detrimental to your image and your credibility than anything Kendrick Lamar did. The defamatory material has been played billions of times and is false billions of times. I mean, he ain't lying. That shit was a slapper. I mean, they played it in the Olympics. They about to play this at the Super Bowl. Sheesh. I'd be hot too. I ain't gonna lie. Calling me a pedophile on the Super Bowl stage is crazy work. It is not just fans of rap music who now believe that Drake is a certified pedophile. The recording has become ubiquitous. UMG uses promotional resources, exclusive licensing rights to place the recording on numerous nationally televised events. It was played in the NBA. It was played in the Olympics, including but not limited to award shows, national political events, and more. They did play it at the DNC. Oh, shit. But billions of plays and ubiquity were not enough for UMG. Over the course of the last several months, UMG has made significant financial investments and leveraged as professional connections via sophisticated and highly organized publicity campaigns to arrange for the recording to be performed at one of the most significant and viewed cultural events of the event, the Super Bowl. Oh my God. This is the greatest piece of content I've read, probably. This is going down in history. I might have to download this just for keepsake. This is a part of history of hip hop at this point that will never, ever be forgotten. Ah. UMG's campaign went well beyond the traditional music company playbook. Indeed, UMG has unleashed every weapon in its arsenal, including on information and belief, certain practices that are unlawful. In a memorandum to staff reflecting on the heights of 2021, Sir Lucian Grange remarked that it was harder than ever for artists to break through the noise. As, for example, 60,000 songs are added to Spotify every day. UMG made sure that Not Like Us broke through the noise. For one, UMG took the unprecedented step, contrary to its internal practices, to remove the recording's copyright restrictions on YouTube and Twitch, thereby whitelisting the recording to ensure content creators would republish it broadly. They also did that for your song. Just as note, they also did that for your song. On information and belief, UMG and its agents further put a thumb on the scale by covertly offering financial incentives to third parties to deceptively stream the recording on streaming platforms, to play the recording on the radio, and to otherwise promote and endorse the defamatory material, all without ever publicly disclosing the payments. First of all, streamers already watched you for saying that. They said they didn't get paid. If I'm a streamer, my whole job is to stream music and react to things that are happening in the culture. Why the fuck would I not react to Not Like Us, the biggest moment happening in culture at the time? I'm losing money if I don't stream. I'm making money if I stream and react to what you're saying. I'm not only getting money, I'm getting subscribers, I'm getting views. I'm literally involving myself in the biggest happening and occurrence in the culture, and you're telling me as a streamer I needed to be paid to do that? No. As somebody who streams and reacts, I'm gonna do that shit regardless, because that is what is going on. You want to be part of the conversation, you ain't gotta pay me a dime. Oh my god. Oh my God. UMG's greed yielded real world consequences as described above. It was just 3 days after UMG originally published the recording and image that Drake was targeted at his Toronto house by armed intruders in the 2024 equivalent of Pizzagate. Of Pizzagate. Now he's alluding himself to Pizzagate. The online response was similarly violent and hateful. An avalanche of online hate speech has branded Drake as a sexual offender and pedophile, among other epitaphs. Public commentators repeated the false claims that Drake is a pedo and sexual abuser on the level of Weinstein, Diddy, and Epstein, who traffics children in shipping containers and harbors convicted sex offenders in his Toronto home. The mob-like response to the recording continues to unfold on and offline. Recently, flyers were plastered all over Toronto with a photo of Drake and a Canadian YouTuber who was sentenced to 3 years in prison for sexual assault with the words, "Canadian sex predators gotta stick together." Having this besties and then right next to it, meet your neighbors is fucking wild. That's also hilarious. 81 pages of this. This is fucking wild. Here we go. This is it. Many months prior to filing this litigation, Drake attempted to address these claims privately with UMG. Drake believed, per Sir Grange, that UMG's leadership should be held accountable for the decisions we make and how we conduct ourselves, and UMG purports to care about threatening and abusive behavior. Indeed, UMG's code of conduct notes that harassment can take different forms, such as speech that is threatening or abusive, and declares that violence, threats, and physical intimidation are not tolerated at Universal Music because we all share the responsibility to make health and safety a constant priority. Yet, in response to Drake's concern, UMG responded that Drake would face humiliation if he brought legal action, presuming that the public would be unable to understand UMG's role in exploiting and profiting from this dispute. Yeah, they were right. Drake, you are clearly facing public humiliation. And like, if you think filing this lawsuit is going to make things any easier or better, you are sadly fucking mistaken. Mistaken. I'm not right now. It's just 81 pages of gloriousness. Like this is something I never thought I would see in hip hop ever. Like, if you are a true hip hop head, seeing a lawsuit being filed in a beef. Imagine this happened in the 90s. Imagine this happened in the 90s. Imagine in the 90s, Jay-Z, let's say Jay, and they're whole back and forth between Nas or Nas or whoever, filed the lawsuit against the other person. They would never be heard from again. They would have been ran out, laughed out, mocked out of the conversation of hip hop in the fastest possible order. And the fact that in 2025, Drake can file this and feel confident about filing this shows how far the culture has shifted in terms of what the rules are, what the etiquette is. What are we doing? It's a diss track. The whole point of a diss track is to defame you. You literally did it on your own songs. You called this man a wife beater, a cuck, whose kids were not his. Wild. If you want to read the whole thing, you can go find this on the internet. I'm not going to read the whole thing unless you guys really, really, really want me to at some point. But this is fucking crazy.